Has it?
Hang on.
Not yet. There we go. The Facebook Live thing is up and off we go. A little bit of work here with sound. Ready for this? We beat Essendon and it was grouse. We beat Essendon and it was grouse. We beat Essendon, it was grouse. We beat Essendon, it was grouse.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and there you've heard it. The hit single from 2020 that's rocketed back up the charts. We beat Essendon and it was grouse by the all-conquering John Rowe. John, good evening to you, my friend. Great to see the old favourite back again.
Oh yeah. I had forgotten all about it, and Riley. G'day, Riley. Great to see you on. He just put it up on the Queensland channel. I thought, oh yeah, I did that, didn't I?
Yeah. Any chance of ever adding to the chorus, or that's or at some stage?
I don't think there's any need. There's really no need.
Everybody is a church mouse, something like that. I don't know. We could work something out.
It just really just says it all, doesn't it?
It does says it all. Beating Essendon is grouse, and that is exactly what we did on Sunday MCG afternoon. Good evening to you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. John Stanford is here in the house. Riley, Siraj, g'day, Riley. Colin, good evening to you. Paul Quixley, evening. Debbie O'Connor says, "What is the title?"
Nice. Debbie, if you can help me out here, my creativity is not that good. So just help me out with the title and see how we go.
If anyone feels like adding to that, we'll go right ahead. We'll bring it out as a hit single. Ricky Spencer, great that people still use the word grouse. Hadn't heard it for a long time before I met John Rowe. But if you know John as well as I do, you'll know that that's a word that well suits my friend, my good Carlton friend and co-host of Carlton Live. Frank, good evening to you, Frank. Simple and effective song, he says. Frank's out of Facebook jail. Is that true, Frank? You're in Facebook jail? I'm not sure what you did, but that's pretty naughty. Clinton Barton Cray, well, that's a effing rookie starting to start the week. Hello, boys, says Justin. Carl and the Mighty Blues. Everyone's up and about tonight. I don't know why they are.
Oh, look, it's because we gave the players and the club an absolute ripping last week. And so everyone's just copped it, and we've got the win, and we're all back on board. But just want to go back and give a shout out to Frank and Simone. If you didn't see the show last night, absolute ripper. It was just fantastic. They do a segment called Goose of the Week. Of which I have nominated Trevor for every week so far. He almost got it this week, and I know, Trevor, you've been aspiring to get it. You almost got it this week with your call that David Cunningham, 2 weeks ago, you said David Cunningham won't play. See your football again.
Not one of my better calls. Thanks, really appreciate you bringing that up, mate. Will we bring up the you claiming Bonampelli was going to get drafted? We want to go back into ancient history, do we?
Hey, mine was at least realistic.
He's still a chance. He's up again at the end of this year. You never know. So no, who did get Goose of the Week? Just for the audience who didn't catch last night's show.
Yeah, go back and have a look at it because they told a wonderful story about Kevin Doherty having his 3 accounts on Facebook being taken to Facebook jail. And I just, fair dinkum, almost wet myself laughing. It was that funny. So Kevin Doherty got it. Just over you. But look, I've got to say the commentary boys and saying that Eddie's goal was behind the stick, they got it from me.
No, that was a classic. Who else have we got? Simone is on board. Thank you, Simone, for joining into our show. Paul Quixley, g'day, Paul. Album of the year, John Rowe, My Blues Ballads. Might have to add a few to that. Hopefully there's a few positive songs and not some other stuff we can probably sing about. Brandon says, anyone else have no voice? That's why I'm on the cup of teas, mate, because just, soothing the old vocal cords there. Joseph Luzzers, hello from Bangkok. Good work, mate. Thank you for tuning in all the way from the capital of Thailand over there. Hope you're doing well. Hope it's nice for you over there. It's freezing cold in Melbourne and raining. It's been raining for the last couple of days, but I'm sure it's okay over in Thailand, and hope you're staying safe over there.
So just a weather update from the Sunshine Coast. I'm in shorts and T-shirt again. I spent the day down the beach and National Park and down the river, and absolutely beautiful day it was.
Good stuff to you, mate. Oh, Joseph says he's in lockdown. That's no good at all. I hope that doesn't last for too long. Okay, let's get into the game. Blue collar. Roll up the sleeve stuff. Obviously, they played last week's show to the boys before the game, which probably gave them a bit of a rev up. Wasn't pretty at times, and still defensively we weren't at our best. Gavin, I've got to interrupt this. Gavin Whelan. Buried him in. That's very nice. That was a fantastic moment of the game, wasn't it? He's a measuring stick, the old tip for Essendon, and that's what I talk about blue collar. Luke Parks is a blue collar, and he is probably still 4 foot down into the MCG turf. I'll tipper after that. But yeah, that's what I say about blue collar. It was blue collar. Always was blue collar. Parks was blue collar. Well, we know that Sam Walsh is blue collar. It was a blue collar game, even down to the Barney, which we got into. They just really dug in, and that's what we wanted to see from them, haven't we? We've just been asking for that. Win, lose or draw. We've been asking for a bit of that stuff.
Yeah, if they do that next week, then they're every chance to win against the Doggies. If they let the Doggies have it on their own terms, we'll get thrashed. But it was just that first quarter and just into the second quarter, I was sort of thinking, oh, my God, not again. Because it's confidence players that got us again. Like the Collingwood game, I'm thinking, here we go. Like Stringers, he's shit. Like he is rubbish, like Jordan DeGooey. But you get them on a roll and they look like absolute world beaters and the best players in the league. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, Stringer again. Can't handle this. Tinga Pooty Woody, at least he's a decent footballer. But, that I'm keeping that comment up because I wanted to go back to this because after that tackle, he really went into his shell thinking, I don't know what got in his head, but I'm thinking, maybe I'm not as good or as fast as I used to be. But he really stopped after that if you go back and look at the replay.
Yeah. I think at that stage, also Mr. Plough moved on to him not too far after that and really cut him out too. So I think Mr. Plough had a lot to say in that space as well. But yeah, maybe Parksy had a little word in his ear at the same time as he pushed him 4 feet down into the MCG turf and said, don't be trying this on my watch, Sonny Jim.
Yeah, it's interesting you said the blue collar because I had just watched the day before the Noosa game, and obviously you love your country footy, you love your district footy because that was exactly what Parks did. The brilliant local footy tackle, balls and all, into the ground, and then a little bit of a how you going on the way up. That was just fantastic. There was blue collar is it's the best term.
Yeah, a little bit of rub the nose into the grass stuff too. It was really, really good.
But did you like that? He didn't care who he was. Didn't care who he was. Just nah.
Parks has been getting a lot of love this week. He's been compared to a few players. Kenny Hunter was one he was compared to. I think he's in the sort of the Peter Dean mould. He's just that hard worker. He just no fuss about him. He just gets it done. He's sort of built this bit of the same way. We shouldn't. I don't like comparing players, but he's these kind of players coming in, I think, are fantastic for the group. Owies and Stocker. Stocker wasn't his best game, but he's in there and he's doing that hard blue collar stuff, and it's having that impact around the team, and I think it's just spread throughout the team. And on Sunday, what we had was a big even spread of contributors. Contributors. We had an even spread across the park. Everyone had a crack. It was what we know Carlton needs to do to win games. We've said it for many years, and there was with maybe one or two there was a bit down, but across the board it was the team effort.
Now I was going to raise this point, but you led into it beautifully. Segue of the century here. If I'm not mistaken, and Andrew Lake will probably pull me up here as well as a lot of our much learned co-people here, I believe we had 3 people on the rookie list in the team.
Parks, Owies, and
Cottrell.
I can't remember who would the other one be.
Cottrell,
of course. Yeah. Wow. How's that? How's that for showing up the high class big money earners? So you're 100% right. Speaking of Andrew Lake, happy birthday to our good friend for yesterday. 25 years young, Andrew. Happy birthday to you. And as we talk about the great man himself, injection of youth, he says, raise the energy levels. That might have been a good tonic, just getting these blokes in there to say, hey, we're in this team. We want to stay in here, let's and we want to keep winning. So let's do what we do.
So is that all about the hunger?
Rookie too, says Joseph. That's exactly true.
Yes, 4. So 4 rookies. 4 rookies in. Now, I wanted to make the point was, how does that look now for your development, and how's that look now for your drafting over the last 4 or 5 years? You got 4 rookies in. You can't really count Eddie because he pulled out last minute to become rookie. Unselfless act. So 3 rookies are in the team and playing great footy and have their spot. So you couldn't take any 3 of them out.
We're going to get to that later. It's going to be an interesting selection dilemma moving forward. Tigi, we called for some dramatic action at the selection table. Not so much dramatic action, and as we know, Murph came out at a late stage due to a head knock at training that we haven't heard too much about. SPS, as we know, was dropped. Only to be recalled to the team as the sub. Interesting call that, just while I'm talking about it, to drop him and then put him at the sub. I would have thought that maybe you would probably put him into the 2s and just dropping you're dropping him for a reason and putting him in the 2s and getting to get some ball. I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting topic because Teague come out and said he won't be making any statements at the selection table, which I don't think I'm a fan of, but that's him, and he obviously got the result this week, so kudos to him. But it's almost. He also said
that no one's guaranteed a spot in the team.
Oh, that's absolute bullshit. You know that. That's just garbage. But it also, to me, that that spot now, that injury sub is just your worst pick. Instead of dropping someone, just say, all right, we'll go back to the injury sub, rather than go back to the twos and find some form. It's just a wuss out. Instead of being the other way, which it should be, is having the old school utility player there, taking up that spot, just in case something happened anywhere along the ground, that you could easily move the pieces around that. That's what I'm seeing it as.
Yep. Maybe it was a kick in the pants. He came on like a bit of a man possessed. He was, all over the place. He did get a fair bit of the ball when he came on, and of course, that fantastic mark. I think it was the last quarter where he basically ran back and took a big grab in the defensive 50. I think it was the last quarter. He was out there, I think, maybe trying to prove a point. Disappointing for Dowie, and a few people have mentioned that as well, because he went out there too like a bit of a man possessed. He was head down over the ball, and he was running straight at it. A little bit of a missed tackle was probably only his blemish for the 20 minutes he was on. I hope he gets another crack this week. Hope he's okay, and they can get him in there again.
Yeah, I think he'll take a week, because that was a pretty bad injury. Unless it's just pure bruising, then you can get that down with ice and treatments and so forth. But it looked a little bit more, and I would want to see him, checked out fully for next week, and just give it another week just in case, because that whole eye socket would probably be, if it gets hit again, you're not in good territory.
Yeah, but it's again, maybe they did get a rocket up to them, because you obviously saw that they did go out there with a great deal more of intent. Dow had a lot more intent. SPS had more intent. Again, may have been just the energy that the other blokes brought into the team that come in, and Owies and Cunning's back again. Maybe it was that, or just the fact that they realised that this was the game that they needed to win.
Yeah, see, again, that goes back to the point that arced me up last week, is that, don't come in and go one game and say, right, we need to get up for that. You got to get up for every game in the rest of the season. Now, just a little bit of a side note, bit of a tangential note here. Gary Whitechurch saying his godson left, saying it was the worst effort by the umpires he had ever seen, and Essendon, and blah blah blah. Although the umpires did really well, and I caught it in the effects mic that one of the umpires, I think it was Razor Ray, yelled out, "Essendon, high!" Wasn't a free kick; it was just a statement of fact.
Mate, that was one of your best, actually. One of your best.
Over 6 years, I finally got a laugh out of him.
You stick to the singing, I'll stick to the comedy. How about that?
And we're both shit at it.
Fair point. Play on. I knew we were in for a win, because I rocked up late. Relatively late to the G, and I was gonna go to the MCG car park. But then I'm driving down just next to Fitzroy Gardens, and as I'm driving down there, someone pulls out of their car park, right just near the Fitzroy Gardens. So I said, "Thank you, I'll take that." Walked across the G in about 2 minutes. The car parks was closed, so I would never got to park anyway, and sat down right as the first bounce happened. So. I think from that point on, I think we're a Monty after that.
Nice. Now, keep going.
All right, let's get back to the game. It wasn't looking too good at that stage. Sort of late in the second quarter, they 2 or 3 goals ahead. We were okay. We were still defensively, off, obviously. And leaking a few goals, but we were moving it okay, and obviously we're working pretty hard. You could see the intensity was there, the tackling was there. We just needed to get a bit more rhythm happening, and it finally happened. We started delivering the ball as we should. I think the Owies goal brought a bit of energy. Obviously, Walsh was just everywhere. He's just Walsh. What a superstar! He was absolutely everywhere.
Just going on that, there was a piece of play that I only managed to watch the replay back half, as I normally do, because I don't have a lot of time. But that piece of play in the second quarter, probably the first 7 minutes of the first quarter, where he coughed up the ball with not realising where Merritt was, got the tackle and all that, and all of a sudden he's in the back line contesting. We get the ball, and he's on the half-forward flank. It's like, how did you do that?
He just works hard, doesn't he? Chris Judd was on the radio talking about him during the week, and he just basically that's how hard he works, and he's brought that standard, and he's the leader in the way that we should work at the club. So he works hard. He's fit, obviously, and that's what happens when you do that. You get the rewards of being able to get to these spots, and he's you couldn't even classify him. He's not an inside mid. He's not an outside mid. He's just Sam Walsh.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and Frank made the comment last night. In a perfect world, he'd like to see Sam on the outside because of his delivery. I agree with you. He's just an everywhere man. Just let him go. Where he wants to play, let him go.
His decision making is outstanding. He'll back himself. When he backs himself, he'll have a crack. When he knows he needs to put his eyes down, he'll do that. He's obviously the composure of the guy for 20. He's like he's treading water out there, and just people are walking around in slow motion. He's Diesel Williams and Robert Harvey all wrapped into one.
Whoa, it's a nice package, isn't it? Now, I've kept this up from Peter that Owie's set shot kicking was amazing. I did notice that as well. Is so composed, and I just wonder if it goes back to his college basketball days. It's that there's so much pressure on to perform at the highest level. Well, not the highest level, second highest level, but college. There's a lot of pressure on college athletes. I just wonder if that has sort of brought it through, that he's been able to use the processes that he did in college basketball to be able to have the composure and to breathe and to know what to do with the brain to be able to kick the set shots. That's something that's brutally missing from most footballers, and he looked so cool and calm.
Could be, and I'll throw another thing into the mix too, and it probably just could be, technique. He hasn't had that bad technique that maybe players that have been playing for a certain longer period of time than Owies has. And I'm not saying he hasn't sort of played as a junior at all, because I'm not 100% sure on his background. But
he did, yeah, and he was a very promising junior. But I think you're talking about age 13, 14 that he decided to go to basketball. So it's really, it's a long, long time ago.
Yeah. It's a lot to do with technique, but certainly composure. Harry in front, we were closing his eye. We don't want him to kick when he's in front, dead in front, do we? We're saying just go on the angle, mate, because around the goal. But Harry even managed to kick a few straight ones. So our day was on when those kind of things happened. Even Cripper kicked straight for goal. So
after running 40 metres.
Yeah. Thanks. And Zach Merritt, his teammate for next year, was shepherding through. That was really nice of him, wasn't he? So get away from my captain for next year.
Oh, nice.
How Zach Merritt was. I don't know what he was doing. Was he complaining? I think he was complaining that the Cripper was running too far. But every time Cripper would run 3 steps, Merritt would put his arms out. I don't know what he was trying to do. He was trying to fly to catch him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're bereft of pace if Cripps is running away from you. You're in real trouble.
He's got a long stride. It was great to hear. The Essendon supporters boo Adam Sard. it was a pretty mixed crowd. But every time he got the ball, which was a lot, and every time he did something really well to it, which was every time he got the ball, and to see that they didn't have a player like that, and that we did, it was just all smiles to listen to that crowd, giving the boost, because he's been tremendous for us. He's been really solid.
Yeah, look, it's
his delivery.
That goal that he kicked, it was brilliant by our ruckman, the unforgettable ruckman that we have, Pitnet, to just get that handball out. But what I noticed on the replay, 3 steps and Saad was at full pill, at full tilt. Just amazing stuff, amazing speed, amazing, just off 10 metres.
And that's what I encourage all the other players to do. I start to see SPS done a little bit of that too, just not take that first step and kick, but just take those few steps, because he's got the pace to do it. I've seen that a few times. It's just that the players get that ball in the hand and take those few steps. It's a dramatic impact in terms of the movement of the ball and breaking up at a team defence, is taking that extra 3 steps on the run and getting it over the next line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great call. Cunningham's very good at it when he's fit. SBS is very good at it. Zach Fisher's very good at it. And my old mate, who has now gone, Paulson, was very good at it when he started. And that's why I liked him so much.
Speaking of Cunningham, I've always backed him. I really thought he was going to be a solid player. I just couldn't wait for him to get back in the team. It was just only a matter of time that he got back in and got his opportunity, and he's taken it the last couple of weeks. Confidence for him and putting him in the guts was really, really important. I think there was a time when he kicked that goal that I thought he was going to dish it off, but then took the shot himself. I think that sort of sums up David Cunningham in terms of backing himself. Kicking that goal and just taking it on, miss or hit. Great to see him come in and have an impact. And we all want Cunners to do well. Of course we do, because he's got the lot. And he's got a flashy resume, but that consistency hasn't been there for him, and he needs to do it.
Yeah, Simone, he's backpedaling something fierce, isn't he?
I didn't ask you. Get back to your own show.
Now, to be fair, Trev, before we go on to this next point, and this is a really good one from Michael, I think what you were doing was doing the old commentator's curse in reverse, is that you're saying that this guy's absolutely no good and just bring the best out of him. I reckon that's you.
Correct. Mark McClure does it every week. He just gives them a bit of a slide backhander, and next week they come out and do it well. So no, there's method in my madness, and I'm glad to see that you've figured that out.
Yeah. Right.
Who else can I give a bath? Who else can I give a bath to?
I think your man Levi, you need to give a massive bath to, because he's in more trouble.
I don't know how Levi survived the chop last week. It's really disappointing to see where he's at. He's not marking them. He's the best thing about Levi's game at the moment is his field kicking, because he's hitting targets when he gets the ball. He's moving the ball really well. But outside of that, secondary ruck, yeah, but he's not really clunking them like we know that he can clunk them, and it's really disappointing, and it's sad to see, and maybe now with McGovern doing his hammy, and I don't know what the result is of that. His injury's out usually tonight. I haven't seen any injury reports tonight. Maybe. Yeah,
Ricky's saying 10 weeks, and that's pretty severe for a hammy. Crikey, that's basically season.
Ricky could be taking the piss, but I hope he's not. I'd like someone else to back it up. But maybe if it's a bad one off, a really bad one, I don't know how they can grade a hammy 10 weeks. But
to be 10 weeks, it's got to be off the bone, surely.
He's saying 10 weeks. He's backing himself up. Can anyone verify Ricky Spencer's 10 weeks? Has anyone seen the okay, hi Grady saying shit. That's pretty shitty. McGovern was just starting to find a bit too, wasn't he? He was getting a bit of the ball and creating a bit of the play. Getting fit, of course, probably the fittest he's been. So that's pretty shit if that's the case.
It seemed really innocuous too, didn't it?
Well, the big fella running full tilt like that, I don't know who was chasing, but it was a good chase. But, yeah, it's cost him, obviously.
Yeah. All right, before we move on, just wanted to go back and give a big shout-out to the VFL side. They've had a wonderful game. Setterfield's coming back into a lot of form, so he might even get a spot back. Do you boys know anything about Crocker? I don't, and I really want to ask Andrew on this one because he's seen almost every game ever, that he will be able to give us more insight into Crocker as to why he didn't make it at Collingwood and then why he didn't make it at Adelaide. I don't know if it's injuries, I don't know if it's temperament or what it was, but he is just looking something special at the moment. The second part of that question is, can he make it at AFL level? Well, he's only, 180, 184, 186, so he's not a big boy. So can he survive at AFL level at that height, or is the VFL suited to him? I'll open that up to the floor because he is absolutely he's another dimension above the VFL at the moment. He's in red hot form.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting to see why he didn't make it. Maybe it wasn't his physical attributes. Might have been just the mental application side of the things. I'm not 100% sure. Someone will know more than me. I've watched him pretty closely in the last couple of VFL matches. I don't subscribe to this. Oh, he's too small, too short to play, whatever. He's tall enough to play a certain role. He may not be playing centre half forward. But, if he's a good footballer and he's performing, he knows how to get the footy, then, why couldn't he play as a half forward or a mid-sized forward pocket? or a larger sized forward pocket? I don't know. I wouldn't put any negativity or crosses on him just because of his size. But if he's a good footballer and can kick goals, then you'd look at someone like that any day of the week.
And everyone's saying Woolley is a better footballer. Yeah, and he had, some fantastic moments as well, but he's not putting it on the scoreboard like Crocker is,
He's got that bit of a go about him too, Crocker, hasn't he? He's got that blue collar stuff that we wouldn't shy away from in the seniors.
So I like your thoughts there. Like, is he the third tall? Play that role.
Yeah, well, we've got Silvani potentially in that role, haven't we? We've got McDonald potentially in that role. So there's a few others. We've got Honey, in that role potentially as an AFL listed player. So there's a few others in that role. Someone will look at Crocker if he's in good form. I'm not sure exactly how old he is. I don't think he's. I think he's still got some time in him to potentially get on an AFL list, and maybe we'll look at it at come mid-season draft, particularly if someone like now McGovern is out for 8 to 10 weeks, and that's now on the Carlton website I'm reading is pretty shit.
So great call by Ricky Spencer there. We've got to say that was absolutely brilliant. But Wooler, he's doing very, very well. Do we have room for Wooler? Don't know. I reckon Crocker will get picked up quickly, either by us or he won't be playing for the Carlton Blues in VFL in the second half.
Yep. Okay, so anything else on the game on the weekend that took your attention?
Well, look, I had. I'm going to do a Simone here, and I'm going to, put my best 22 in instead of the top three, because I reckon it was a fantastic effort. I really do want to call out, this is a father moment. I think the player that I'm most proud of would have to be Owies. To think that, 3 years ago he came back from college basketball and, to reclaim the form that he had as a junior footballer. And 3 years later, he's, in his second game, I believe, or maybe third game, and he's kicked 3 goals and looked every piece that he was able to do it. But that has been the hard work that he's put in since day one, and you could see it at training, and I called it out several times. There's a hard work that he was doing. And also, he was just so eager to learn, just an absolute sponge. So it's an absolute credit to him. And, after kicking 3 goals, he's kept his spot for, quite a few weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, you can't drop him now. He was in all the right spots, wasn't he? He led hard, he kicked straight. Obviously, another one that put in not a game-saving tackle, but a fantastic tackle right on the defensive goal line. So he got around a bit, and he's got that defensive mindset up forward as well. And you can tell that he wanted to be in the side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that, but that's what we want, isn't it? We want the want.
3 goals, three goals a week from your forwards. Eddie popped up again, and someone said to me, if I called for Eddie to be dropped last week, and they said, well, if he kicked 4 goals instead of 4 points, would you be dropped? And of course not. No way, no. He's there. We need goal kickers. We just can't afford not to have these kind of guys. Just not hit the scoreboard, and Eddie and Owies, that's what we want, 3 goals each. Do that every week out of your small forwards, and your full forward, and Harry pipes in with multiple goals, then you're halfway home.
Well, this is a bit controversial. Crocker will be a DeLuca type pick. Wow.
Let us know what happened with Crocker in his previous clubs, Andrew. Why didn't he make it? And if you were chairman of selectors for Carlton or on the recruitment committee, which you could easily walk into, my friend, would you pick up Crocker? Interesting to know your thoughts on that. Someone has asked about Gibson. He has been a bit off, hasn't he? When he gets near it, I think he's been doing some okay things, but, he's not getting some real numbers. Is he shaky in the side? Yeah, you could probably say that, there's other people breathing down his neck. He's not getting the run in the guts. I want to see him some more in the guts. Some boys and I were talking in the Blue Horizons chat the other night about Gibbo and Williams potentially coming back in this week. Maybe and not being informed. Maybe Cripper spent some more time at centre half forward and just pinch hits in the middle if as needed, and maybe that's an idea too.
I thought exactly that, and I went back and had a look at the game and had a look at the stats. He had a better game than Fogarty.
Who's that? Gibson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that in the game. Maybe the stats might say that. I think I think Fogarty had more of an influence. Is my call on that one.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined, Chris, to give Nunes a bit of a rest. But
we'll bring in some of these. We'll move on to selection very, very shortly because it's going to be a fair discussion to have. But yeah, some of the injection. We've seen injecting a bit of youth. We can't just potentially drop all of the experienced players, but maybe. That Teague's seen that, bringing some of these blokes in and, there's probably going to be blokes coming back. So there is going to be some hard conversations, especially after a win. You can't fit them all in. Murphy should be okay. Silvani looks like he's coming back. Who else have we got coming back? Williams coming back. So it's going to be some interesting discussions.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take off for 2 seconds, but what I want the audience and Trev to talk about is, does Murphy come straight back in? If so, why? If not, why?
Yeah, it's a big call. I don't know, and I didn't hear too much about his injury at training. But if they're saying it's sort of a concussion, then I thought maybe that was 12 days automatic. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't a concussion. They're saying on the Carlton website it was a neck, so therefore then the 12 days doesn't mean anything. But yeah, it's a good call by Johnny. Would you pick Mark Murphy to come straight back into the side? And if so, who comes out? It's going to be an interesting time for discussions. Nick Keskanidis, g'day. Nick says Fogarty and Owies are exciting. You know, Cottrell wants it too. Put JSOS in there in his spirit and passion. 100% right, mate. That's what we're asking for, and it's infectious. Those kind of players, they just bring that energy, and it goes all around the side. Craig Mortlock, g'day Craig. Thank you for tuning in. Make Murphy earn his spot. That's a very good point too. It's going to be interesting. I can't see them putting Murph in the twos. I've had this theory that they're going to nurse him to 300. My opinion is he'll probably be the sub this week, but we'll wait and see. Back to Crocker. Andrew Lake says Crocker couldn't cement a spot at Adelaide in their worst ever season. That's a fair point. Not key position option, far too inconsistent. That might have been his problem, inconsistency. And yeah, if he couldn't get a spot at Adelaide in that side, then that probably says a fair bit too. Michael Howe, TDK, can't wait to see him back. Not long now. Well, he's another one. Would you, with McGovern out, would you roll the dice and put TDK back in? Could he just come in straight swap for Levi? I've got a theory if they're fit enough to play VFL, they're fit enough to play AFL. So I don't know about this getting touch and getting form. You know, you play them. I think is my attitude. We'll
look, I'm with you there on TDK on limited game time. He did enough to have a senior spot. You know, if you bring him in for Levi and let Pitnet and him, go forward and ruck, manage it, and yeah, good as gold.
Yep. Russell Dobson says Murph comes straight back in. Why? Because we are still in finals contention and he is in the best 22. Good call. Best 22. Murph is in the best 22 in his best form, 100%. Has he been in his best form? No, I don't think he's been in his best form. Anthony Wall says Gary Lyon, Murph needs to go into the middle and make the most of his last year of footy. Can't see that happening with all of our options, but Teague's probably setting his way in terms of his putting through in the middle. If we've got Cunningham and other blokes, running through there like Williams, Murph's probably not going to get another spot in the guts.
Yeah, look, there's no reason why he couldn't run through there just to create the rotations, and I think that's we've identified that as being a real struggle for Carlton is that we haven't done that. We've been too stayed in the midfield. Maybe he can run through there 5-10 minutes a quarter, and just provide another option to throw everyone off.
Yeah, Teague's often said that he needs to be a versatile side, and we are a versatile side. We know we've got these players running through the middle, but he has traditionally gone with his old favourites in through the guts. Ed's been getting plenty of time in there. It was fantastic to see Cunningham in there and get so much time in there. I don't think Stocker took a centre bounce. I could be wrong. On Sunday, someone might correct me, but I don't think Stocker got a spot. He was sort of stuck down in the back line. But Teague traditionally hasn't sort of rotated too many through there.
Yeah, I think Stocker's still playing well though. I mean that to set up that massive Eddie mark of the year. I mean, who tapped it to ex-Saints bloke to set up?
Yeah. Ricky Spencer makes a very good point, and dropping kids after a win, we have a history of doing it. It is bad for development. None of those kids that we brought in can be dropped. Let's face it, Owies can't be dropped. we know Parks can't be dropped because he's played a good game. Who else do we have in there as a Stocker? Keeps his spot for mine. So yeah, if you're talking about players not being guaranteed a spot in this side, we'll see if Tiggy backs it up this week.
Yeah, we'll see. I can see the centres pushing for selection, and I just hope that one of the kids don't go out for him.
Yeah. The thing is with selection this week is obviously know the strength of the Bulldogs. Bulldogs midfield. We also probably their weak point is their lack of tall defenders. They've got a couple of great forwards themselves. One great forward, one good forward themselves, and Josh Bruce he can do anything on his day if he's up and around. But if you get him early, he can put him down. But their lack of tall defenders might mean that we bring TDK in for a crack, particularly with McGovern out. So now if TDK comes in for McGovern, Levi might stay in there for another week. Jack Silvani coming in somehow. Yeah, don't know.
Yeah, look, it's you've hit the nail on the head. To beat these guys, you need to get first crack out the middle and beat them at that. So that's why I think you push the case for TDK. Because his tap ruck just in the VFL game was just extraordinary. If you saw it, even if it's for half a game, it's going to give you a hell of a lot of football.
Yeah, surely if he's coming up, if he comes in as a backup ruck and doesn't have to ruck all day against Cottrell, I think one of their main ruck is out. I'm not 100% sure of that. Tall blonde kid, what's his name? It'll come to me, but I'm not
English.
Sure that English, is he back in because he had a week out for an eye injury or something, didn't he?
I don't watch him close enough, so I wouldn't have a clue.
But surely coming in as a backup there and resting up at sticking it on a forward flank might be a good thing to get him back into the flow of the footy. Yeah,
at Levi's expense. I like this one that Newman's got to come back in because we haven't mentioned him yet, and he played again limited time and just had a wonderful influence off that half-back line. But he's tough. He's tough as nails, and I would have loved to have seen him line up against Tingapudi Woody early on, and just would have given him a little bit of what for, like Parks ended up doing. I would have loved to have seen that.
Looked really slimmed down, didn't he, Newman?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, and looked like he hadn't missed a beat of footy. We talk about bringing these blokes in too early or playing them, straight back in the ones. You would hope and you would think that they've been conditioned to play AFL footy straight up, and that they not obviously just haven't been coming straight back from an injury without any training back into the footy. Surely they're being conditioned to play AFL footy. And one game in the twos and getting a bit of touch is enough to put players like Newman back into the side. And that's why winning this game against the Scum was so important, because we're up against a couple of pretty good sides moving forward in Melbourne and the Bulldogs, which we can beat. We can beat them. Get our defensive game happening. We can beat these sides and play like we've done with the blue collar stuff against the Scum. We can beat these sides. So that's why this 4 points is important, because if we happen to drop these next two, all of a sudden, like we already know this week, Williams, Silvani coming back in, and they've got Newman and TDK. Martin's 2 or 3 weeks away. Getting these players ripe for another run at a potential few wins is extremely important.
It is, yeah. Yeah, look, absolutely well said. Absolutely well said there. English, who goes back onto English? Well, I'm quite happy with TDK and Pitnet going on to English. I'm more than happy with that. I think we match up really well against the Doggies. They will really struggle to go against H.
Mm-hmm. Michael Howe makes a really good point. I hope Teague's watched that game. The Tigers choked the Dogs up with their pressure, didn't let them get it out of their back half, and they went to water. I hope we've dissected the vision of the third quarter to the last inch of it.
Yeah,
Yep, that's point. You know, they are a flashy side. Those Dogs. You get them a run, you give them a run, and they'll give them an inch, and they'll take a mile. But choke them up and get some pressure on them, and you know they do turn it over, and we can create those turnovers ourselves. But we've got to be really, really defensively minded and back to that blue collar stuff every week.
but that's you know, basically that's Teague's career right there. Is if he starts to look at these games and starts to get away from this whole thing about when we play our best footy, we can beat anyone. No, it's going back and do what the Tigers did and choking up their weapons, stopping their weapons from taking the game away from you, which I think he did really well on after the first quarter against Essendon. Took away Stringer, took away Tingapooty Woody, and, you know, that was it. It really started to change. If we go shootout with the Dogs, forget about it. If we do what Tigers did, like Michael Howe said, then we've got a real chance of destroying their confidence and their confidence players and digging in and getting the win. It's all blue collar, like you said.
Yep. All right, this is going to be hard. Let's give us your ins and outs for the Dogs. Would love to hear it. It's going to be fascinating what happens to see. It's great. I'm glad Williams is back. I need Williams. He's in one out, one in out, one the other, but that's just disappointing. But I think he's a valuable asset to our side. So he's got to come in.
Before we go on to Williams, because this was another, you know, just tangential thought I had during the week, is how much has Curls Jr. nailed the draft and the trade period?
Yeah, he's had a good start, hasn't he? Yeah.
You know, Williams is probably at the moment the probably least performed out of all of them. You know, you got Sard, you got Williams, you got Fogarty, you got Parks. We haven't seen Jack Carroll yet because of an injury, but apparently he was cutting it up in the twos and will be a very, very strong player. It's a wonderful time.
He's had a good start. He's had a definitely good start, and loving what he's done so far. You know, Sard, we gave away pick 8, didn't we? Pick 8. A few people didn't want to do that. You'd give away,
including me.
Yep. No, you'd go back and give that away again in a heartbeat. What he's brought to the footy club. Yeah,
fair enough. Humble pie for me. Big slice of humble pie. It's all good. Now, ins and outs. So, obviously, you're going to have McGovern out. I don't think Dow will play. It's too risky. You know, when you start talking about eye and all that sort of stuff, it can just take one little knock and it's gone.
Will be monitored. Will be monitored is the line from the club. And that makes sense, right?
You've got to say a no. So I don't think Murphy deserves his spot back. So I would go Levi out. I would go McGovern out. I would go Dow out. I'm going to say JSOS is going to be fit. I'm going to bring in TDK and have him and Pitnet, basically wax off ruck and half forward line. And I'm missing one player, aren't I? Oh, Williams comes back in.
Okay. I think you've just frozen up, mate. I don't know if you're still with us, but we can hear. There you go. You're back again.
Did you hear?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Debbie O'Connor says, in sauce, Sodge, Setters, Williams out, Gov, Cots, Nudes. Geez, Cottrell. How could you drop Cottrell, Deb? That's very, very hard. He's another blue-collar warrior.
Tough.
That's really, really tough. I think he's been doing a real good job out on that wing. And he's one that we know that will run defensively too. Harsh. Anthony Walsh says, in Murphy, Williams, TDK, out Gov, Owies. Jeez, but Murphy is better value in Dow. 3 goals to Owies. That's pretty harsh too. Whoa, look at all these harsh.
How many times has Murphy got 3 goals this season?
Pretty much, exactly. That's it.
There he is.
Simone says Nunes, Levi, Gov, Dow, in TDK, Williams, JSOS, and Setters. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Simone will just do her best 28 and she'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I'm with Simone. Actually, I think that's probably a good ins and outs. Does Gibson survive? I think he does. Levi, unfortunately, I think get TDK in, get him in. He deserves to come straight in. Or sorry, I don't know if he deserves to, but we've got to get him straight in. Levi, just he went back a little bit and did okay, but he's not doing what we need him to be. Maybe a spell or two that he can get back, but he's just not looking. He's just not looking like the player that we know that that he's been when he's in form.
I got a thing to do 4 changes after a win, but I reckon that's not too far off.
Yeah, JSOS comes in. Nunes, fair call to come in for Williams. JSOS definitely comes in. So
shit,
yeah, I think
finished. Nobody else is in now.
Well, wait to see if we lost that game. yeah. Stocker, I don't think Stocker played a super game, but again, I think you've got to play him.
Stays.
Yeah.
Stays for me. You can obviously see that he's been taught how to play football. They're addressing his inefficiencies.
Yeah. He's doing it. He does his few little silly things, but he's a smart footballer. He'll get back, and he's a hard worker. Like I said, stick him into the guts. All right, so back on how we beat the Dogs. Yeah, Cripper a bit up. Cripper spent some time up forward. Setter's back in. If he's back in to have to get back in there for me, maybe for Dow. Murphy. Someone saying Murphy might come in for Dow. That's possibly a point too. I can see Murph being the sub is my call somehow. I just that's what I see.
There's no need to bring him in. There's no need. If you want inside mid, you bring in Setterfield.
Yeah, well, no need, but I think that will happen. I think they'll bring him in.
Fair enough.
Setterfield. Back to realizing learning how to tackle in the twos. Now he's just got to bring that to the ones, but they've got to play him in the guts. JSOS brings another blue collar worker in, doesn't he? JSOS, Harry, TDK, and Cripper up forward, plus Owies and Eddie there. That's a pretty mean forward line. That's a pretty mean forward line, and will really test them. So. Williams back in the guts is important. Some real grunt in the guts with Walsh there. It's going to be. They've got some awesome players. Liberatore's in form. Bontempelli's in form. I can't reel off too many other names for their midfield.
McRae. So interesting point that you're just making there. They've got some wonderful talent in their midfield, and I want to open this up to you and to all of the viewers. Who would you put Ed Curnow to?
Yeah, it's a good call. Ed's probably got to go to someone, doesn't he? I think you don't put it in stone, do you? You don't put it in stone. You've traditionally Bont's cut it up. Bont's cut us up. Liberatore's in really good form. Does he go head to head midfield to midfield starting off? It's a dangerous call. Talaur's another one that they've got in there, of course.
That's probably a good Ed call.
Yep.
Curnow for Talaur.
Yeah, I think he's got to go on Bontempelli. Bontempelli's just way too damaging for me. He's all over the shop. He gets up forward. He hurts us on the scoreboard. So he can hurt teams on the scoreboard. Plus, he gives them first use out of that midfield plenty of times.
Yeah, fair enough. Will Bont start a little bit forward, just to throw the mix up? You don't know. Interesting. Frank, Ed to Bailey Smith. Interesting. Has he got the pace to go with Bailey Smith?
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are a blue collar team too, but they also move it really, really well. But they also have got their deficiencies. And Tigers found them out really, really well. And if we bring the same energy and the same defensive pressure we did when we started working hard, then we can beat the dog. We know we beat them. It's got to be in the back of our mind that we gave them a touch up last year. It's got to be back in their mind that we gave them a touch up last year. So we'll go into this game confident, knowing we can win. Which in Carlton's case, the mental side of the game is really important. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, well said. Just wanted to go a bit of opposition watch. And, we talk about the Doggies and we talk about Melbourne having great big starts of the season. Do you and the viewers think they've gone too early, and can they maintain it for 22 weeks?
History's not on their side, is it? At some point, they usually will have a bit of a dip somewhere.
And we've got them in the next 2 weeks, by the way.
Yeah.
If we had them around 18, 19, I'd be a lot more comfortable.
It'll be a nice time for them to have a dip, wouldn't it? Look, like I said, we can beat them. There's no doubt about it. The results are going all over the place this year. And you talk about. I saw a stat the other day about quarters won. I think Carlton have won 16 quarters, and that's probably in the top 5 or 6 teams of the comp. We haven't been blown out of the water. We've 3 goals against Brisbane, and we just saw Brisbane knock Port Adelaide off their perch. So. Funny old season, funny old year. Teams on their day can do really, really well. Fantastic to see the filth down below where they belong.
But it's number one. It's, you can't give away successive run of goals because it brings all the downhill skiers, like I've been talking about, into the game, who all of a sudden think they're the greatest thing ever. Sorry, they always think that, but, then they start acting up and, start getting some real possession and stuff like that in goals. You can't do that.
Yeah. Melbourne at some stage Sunday looked like they could have lowered their colours to North Melbourne because North Melbourne were in there having a crack. The cream came to the crop eventually and their young players ran out of steam. But North, had their chances to win that game. So
that was an indictment on Melbourne not turning up.
Yeah, that's it. You don't turn up. It's funny. I really want to beat Melbourne, but shouldn't look too far ahead. We've got one week at a time. So we've got them, Melbourne, and then we've got who else have we got after that? We've got the Hawks. Get these 2 out of the way. Get one win out of these 2, and we've got the Hawks, Sydney. Well, that's a freaking hard game too up in Sydney. No easy games, is there?
Yeah, I can see Sydney have gone a bit early too, and they're starting to taper off a little bit. They only just got over the line.
Yep. Eagles at home, which we're lucky to have Eagles at home. That's a blessing in disguise. And then we move into the bye after that. So that'd be nice.
And then we get Charlie.
And then we see Charlie. Okay, Michael Howard says, put your house on a Baggers win. Okie dokie. I'll just ring the bank right now. I'm sure they won't have a problem with that. JSOS did a job on
your house on, not his.
Hey?
He's going to put your house on, not his.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no worries. JSOS did a job on the Bont. Why not him? I think he's too valuable forward, to be honest, for mine to shut him down. Ed's the man in there. Even Cottrell. Cottrell can do that kind of role.
Interesting. I saw a little bit during the week is that we had smaller players on their big bastard up forward. Their new kid, and they actually perform really, really well. So guys like Cottrell were up against him, and I just think that was a great strategy to go, and I just wonder if that's going to be used again when we see players who are large but aren't that great overhead and shit on the ground. That will put a smaller player up against him.
That's it. Harry's obviously an important ingredient. Kicking straight's an important ingredient to this game. Harry was off on the week. He had a bit of gastro apparently, but he was still marking everything and kicking straight. So second on the Coleman at the moment, Harry. That's a good sign, isn't it? And he's just taking it all before him.
Not bad, and it was a great
giving him a bit of space. Surely we're starting to realise all you can do is put it out in front of him. Sard will do it. Williams will do it. Walsh will do it. Just put it out in front of him, and Owies at the back or Eddie at the front, and one of them are going to get it.
Yeah, what I liked is we started looking at different options against Essendon. As you said before, Harry, after Harry, either deeper or shallower. We started looking at different options, and Sard did really set that up with that one to Eddie. Yep.
Michael Howell is 100% correct. The next 2 weeks are massive to see where we are at. It will say where we're at. They're the two best teams in the comp, but we've got them freaking straight after each other. 1 and 2, I think they're on the ladder, aren't they? The Bulldogs lost a game. Yes,
they did. Tigers.
Yeah, that's it. So
Melbourne are undefeated.
That's it. So we'll see where we're at. Our best footy is our best footy, and we really want a competitive Carlton. We want a blue collar Carlton. Get that every week, and we're a chance of getting results. Drop our heads and let them get ahead, and we know where that'll end up.
Yeah. All right. Shall we cut it loose?
Let's wrap it up. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you joining us tonight. Good show. Always good after a win, especially good after beating the Scum. Loved Johnny's little number one effort there to start off the show. Look for that to come out on CD very, very soon. It'll be nice to back it up with, we beat the Doggies and it was grouse. That would be good.
I reckon you could just put that out as is against Essendon. Every single club will pick that up.
I think they will. Make sure you want your royalties paid, mate. So I'm sure we can. We'll try and pump it up. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your contribution. Thanks for your input. And it's going to be a big week, and it's going to be interesting selection time. But I've got to try and convince my wife to let me go to the footy on Mother's Day. Maybe I'll give her a surprise present as tickets to the Bulldogs. She'll be okay for that for a Richmond supporter, right?
Surely. It's a winner.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Good night to you, Johnny, and have a good evening and have a good week.
Yeah, good evening.